Have you ever watched someone do something that seemed completely wrong, completely backwards, completely foolish, and assumed they simply didn't know any better? Have you ever looked at a person and thought to yourself, that person has no idea what they're doing, only to discover much later that they were the smartest person in the room the entire time? We are very quick to judge what we don't understand. We see the surface of a decision, the part that looks wrong, the part that looks weak, the part that makes no sense to us, and we laugh. We call it foolishness. We congratulate ourselves quietly for being smarter than that. But wisdom doesn't always look like wisdom from the outside. Sometimes it looks like exactly the opposite. And the people who truly understand this, the ones who are comfortable being misunderstood while quietly building something no one else can see, are often the most dangerous kind of intelligent. This is the story of a young man who let the whole court call him a fool and went home every evening to a box filling, slowly with silver coins. In a kingdom that was prosperous and well-governed, there served a minister of exceptional intelligence. He had spent decades in the king's court, and in all that time, he had earned something that most people in positions of power never fully earn: the king's complete and unquestioning trust. Every problem that came before the throne, the minister had a solution for. Every decision that required careful thought, the king sought his counsel first. He was, by every measure, indispensable. And because of this, because the king valued him so openly and so consistently, many others in the court had developed a quiet, simmering resentment toward him. The kind of resentment that looks for any opening, any crack, any weakness, any opportunity to make a respected man look small. Then one morning, the king gave them exactly that. He called the minister aside, and with the easy confidence of a man sharing an observation he finds amusing, he said, "You are a very clever man. I have always known this, but your son, I'm afraid, is quite foolish. He has no sense at all." The minister kept his face calm, the way a man does when he has spent years learning to receive unwelcome things without letting them show. "Your Majesty," he said respectfully, "why do you say this? What has given you this impression of my son?" The king explained, "Every morning when I go to meet my people, your son is there in the market. I have made a habit of stopping him. I place 2 coins before him, 1 gold, 1 silver, and I ask him to take the more valuable one, and every single morning, without hesitation, he chooses the silver." The court erupted. Laughter moved through the room with the particular delight of people who have been waiting for exactly this kind of moment, the chance to laugh at the son of a man they have long resented. The minister said nothing. He smiled politely, bowed with dignity, and excused himself. But inside, the embarrassment moved through him like heat. His son, his own son, embarrassing him before the king, making the family look foolish in front of every person in that court, who had been waiting years for a reason to smile. He went directly home. He found his son and sat across from him with the controlled patience of a father who is choosing his words carefully. "Tell me," he said, "which is more valuable, gold or silver?" The son looked at him without hesitation. "Gold, father. You know this?" "Of course." The minister leaned forward. "Then explain something to me. If you know that gold is more valuable, why do you tell the king otherwise every single morning? Why do you stand in that market and choose silver when the correct answer is gold?" The entire court laughed at us today. "The king believes you are a fool. Your family's reputation is suffering because of a coin you already know the value of." The son was quiet for a moment. Then he smiled, the unhurried, undefensive smile of someone who has been waiting for exactly this conversation. "Father," he said, "let me show you something. Come with me." He led his father down the hall to a small private room. In the corner, there was a wooden box. He opened it. The minister looked inside and went completely still. The box was filled with silver coins, dozens of them, stacked carefully, counted, accumulated, coin by coin. Day by day, over weeks and months of being called a fool in the market every morning. "How?" the minister started. "These," his son said simply, "are the coins the king has been giving me. Every single day. He places them before me, I choose silver, he laughs, and he walks away happy. And I walk home with a silver coin, he..." looked at his father steadily. day I reach out and take the gold coin. The day I give the correct answer. Is the day the king stops asking, why would he continue a game? Once the other player shows they understand it, the moment I prove I know gold is more valuable, the game is over. The coins stop coming. The daily reward disappears. And I am left with one gold coin in exchange for all the silver I would have collected by simply continuing to smile and letting him enjoy his amusement. He closed the box gently. The king enjoys this game. He goes home happy. He tells the court I am foolish, and the court laughs. And everyone feels clever. And every evening I come home and put another coin in this box. Father, why would I trade a steady, growing reward for a single moment of being called smart by people who are only watching the surface? The minister stood in that small room and looked at his son the king called foolish, the son the court had laughed at that very morning, and felt something shift quietly in his chest. Not embarrassment anymore, something closer to awe. He had spent 40 years in that court. He had solved problems for a king. He had outmaneuvered rivals and navigated politics and earned a reputation for intelligence that stretched across the kingdom. And his son, his supposedly foolish son, had understood something that even he, with all his experience, had not immediately grasped. That there are two kinds of intelligence, the kind that needs to be seen, that reaches for the gold coin in front of witnesses because being recognized as correct matters more than the quiet accumulation of something real, and the kind that is patient, that understands the game being played, sees past the surface of it, calculates what is actually being offered, and chooses the option that serves them long. After the laughter has faded, his son had chosen to be misunderstood, not because he didn't know the answer, but because he understood something more valuable than the answer. Understood the situation. He understood that sometimes the most strategic thing you can do is let people underestimate you. That sometimes the wisest move looks like the foolish one to everyone who isn't playing the same game you are. That the person in the room who says nothing, who lets others talk, who smiles quietly and goes home, is not always the least intelligent person there. Sometimes they are the most. From that day forward, whenever someone at court made a comment about the minister's foolish son, whenever they laughed or shook their heads, or used him as an example of someone who couldn't answer a simple question, the minister said nothing. He did not correct them. He did not defend his son. He did not explain. He simply smiled, the private, knowing smile of a man who has seen the box and walked away. There is something important in this story that goes beyond the coins and the king and the court. It is about the cost of needing to be seen as smart. Most of us, if we are being completely honest, carry a version of this hunger, the need to give the right answer, the need to be recognized as capable, the need to correct people when they are wrong about us, the need to prove, in the moment, in front of witnesses, that we are not the fool they think we are. And that need, that perfectly understandable, very human need, costs us more than we realize. It costs us the box of silver coins. It costs us the long game. It costs us the quiet, patient, invisible accumulation of something real. Because we can't resist reaching for the one gold coin that will make people see us differently. Right now, the world is full of people who are doing great things quietly, who are building something that doesn't look like anything yet from the outside, who are choosing the silver coin every morning, not because they don't know the value of gold, but because they understand the game they're playing better than anyone watching them, and the world calls them foolish. It laughs. It shakes its head. It uses them as cautionary tales in conversations they're not present for, but they go home every evening and put another coin in the box. So the next time someone calls you foolish, the next time the room laughs at a choice you've made that they don't understand before you feel the need to explain yourself, to correct the record, to prove that you know what you're doing, ask yourself one question. Is there a box of silver coins somewhere that they haven't seen yet? If the answer is yes, smile and walk away. If this story reached you today, share it with someone who is being misunderstood right now. Someone who is playing a long game that no one around them can see yet. Someone who needs to be reminded that being called foolish by people who can't see the whole picture is not a problem. It might actually be the plan. Subscribe for more stories like this one. Stories about wisdom that doesn't announce itself, strength that doesn't need an audience, and the quiet intelligence of people who understand the game. Everyone else is too busy playing to actually see. Until the next story, keep building what no one can see yet. Let them laugh. Let them call it foolish. And remember, somewhere in your life, there is a box filling slowly with silver coins. Don't trade it for a single moment of being called right.